the seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat, then I ain't taking, friend.
So this is Sabacc.
Sabacc.
Yo, what is up? What is up? We are back on Sabacc the Block, your Star Wars show on First Cut. I am here with a very, very special guest. You guys might know her from Star Wars TikTok, Star Wars Twitter, or Star Wars anything social media. It's the one and only a Star Wars Thea herself is in the house. Karina, you are here. How are you feeling?
Oh my God, I am so excited to be here right now, Andres. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm totally honored. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Obviously, we want to have more Star Wars guests on the show. I've kind of been lagging on the show. I can't be lying on my end because I want to talk more about Star Wars. So I wanted to make sure and have a good guest. So you're the perfect guest to have on right on this new year, 2023. I think this is the first show for Sabacc the Block for this new year. But Karina, I'm excited to talk about Star Wars with you. But the first thing we always get to with our guests is, what is your Star Wars story?
Oh my goodness. My Star Wars story started when I was 8 years old. It was my older cousin. He was like super nerd, but he was like, it was funny because he was like super nerdy, but he's also from, hood from the street and stuff. So I remember one time he came in and he was like, all right, yo, to me and my little cousin, you're gonna sit down, we're gonna watch Star Wars. I don't hear nobody talking. Just enjoy the movie. I was like, all right, no problem. I was like, yay, Star Wars, because we have seen, obviously little action figures and stuff. So we sat down and we started, and it's just like the first thing is just space, and then this huge, ship just coming out, and I was like, everybody was so excited. And then I'm watching, I'm happy, and then Vader comes through those doors. That was it. I was in love. I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is so scary, but it's so cool. And ever since then, it became a big thing for me, especially with him. We shared a lot. I lost him to cancer 2 years ago. So yeah, it was like, it was something that was very special between me and him. So but then after that, Star Wars was like everything to me. And once the prequels came out, that was like huge. That's when I also became like a huge Anakin Skywalker fan. And yeah, that's been my story ever since 8 years old.
Wow, that's incredible. Was it the VHS tapes that you saw it on? Awesome.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
that's how I saw it too.
We went and rented he went and rented all three movies. So we had like a 3-night event at the
Yes.
house. So yeah, that was the first time.
It's so interesting hearing people talk about getting to know Star Wars for the first time on the small screen, right? That's how I
Yes.
was introduced as well, because you watch it
Mhm.
on TV when you see it through VHS, through either buying it or renting it. That's how I
Yeah.
saw it in the early 90s as well. So I totally feel that. I love that, because I really do feel like starting with the OGs is kind of special. Like there's something special about it, even though we're not there physically in theaters and stuff.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
still really cool to see Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, like they become iconic right away, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
I want to get into
Yes.
your background just a tiny bit, just to help me out a
Mhm.
little bit. So you say you're from New York. I know you have a
Yes.
Colombian background, right?
Yes. Both my parents are Colombian. I'm first generation American, born here.
Nice. What
And
parts?
yeah. Um, from Colombia.
Yeah.
Oh, my parents are from this little town called Florida. It's like 45 minutes away from Cali, the main city,
Okay.
Cali. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually lived there for like 3 years when I was younger, and then we came back here to the States.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm similar. I'm also, my family is from, well, my mom is from Cali, and
Okay, Daddy, I know you were Colombian. I
yeah,
was
my mom's
wondering
from
too.
Cali. I lived there for a year and a half. Like doesn't really
Okay.
count. But that's awesome. That's really cool. And what parts of New York?
That's really cool. I'm in Queens, New York. I grew up in
Queens.
Manhattan, though, in Uptown Manhattan, where all the
Awesome.
Dominican people.
Yeah.
But then I've been living in Queens for the past 15 years now. Yeah.
Epic. Epic.
Hmm.
Alrighty, let's get to our first thing in the outline, which is the Star Wars news.
I heard
Yes.
a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
So the story that we have coming right out of Sundance is that Daisy Ridley is doing the press about her new movie. I'm pulling up the title of the movie. I believe it's called I Think About Dying, or Sometimes I Think About Dying. And she has been getting obviously asked about the Star Wars sequels. The only
Mhm.
question I have, because obviously I don't want to go into the debate about Rise of Skywalker, I'm not doing
Mhm.
that. I'm just not going
Yeah,
to do
no,
it.
no, let's not.
What I want to talk about is a very simple question, which is the question they presented to her, which is, do you want to come back to the Star Wars franchise? And my question is to you, do you want to see Daisy Ridley come back as Rey?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I actually did. I saw the interview a few days ago and actually did a TikTok. I was like, I need Ray to come back. Her and Finn, give us both are, force users back. I am in such dire need of post sequel, anything. I want those stories, I miss my Jedi. I miss the thrill of having to go to a theater to see a Star Wars movie, something event, something big with them. And I would love to see that, especially her. I love her as Ray. Regardless of what the feelings are with the sequels and stuff. I think she did an amazing job, characterizing Ray and stuff. So I would love to see her back, see Finn back, see Poe back, doing their thing. It would be amazing.
It's one of those things too where, if I'm being honest, I feel like it's kind of a bummer the way that Star Wars has treated the sequels in some of the
Hmm.
media so far, as far as kind of like a yada yada, not necessarily ignoring them or
Hmm.
diminishing them in any way, but it is very much like a yeah, yeah, they were there. We did the
It
sequels.
happened,
It
yeah,
happened. Where
yeah.
I want them to just dive head in and just be like, sequels part two, bro. Ray is back and she's
I
like a master Jedi.
no, absolutely. And it's like they, even if they want to start with like animation, like when how they did with the Clone Wars to complement the prequels, and then Rebels to complement the original trilogy. I would love a story like that too, to delve more into all the maybe things that they couldn't do in the movies. I would love to expand on that as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where I was thinking about it because I'm rewatching Rebels. And
Hmm.
I was thinking about Clone Wars, and obviously I saw Bad Batch last night. But it's one of those things where the animation is something that's so unique. I really feel, and I really mean this, if Clone Wars didn't come out, we wouldn't be getting the prequel love that we're currently getting, where a
Oh,
lot of people
yeah,
retroactively liked the prequels because of Clone
absolutely.
Wars. And they're like, it's
Yep.
incredible, it's amazing. And I'm like, that wasn't the sentiment when
At
during the
all,
time.
absolutely at all. I was there, fighting the
Yeah.
good fight about the prequels and stuff. It was pretty bad, and I'm glad that the Clone Wars at least got people to change their mind about the prequel and stuff, because now we were also able to get Hayden and Ewan back to be able
Yeah,
to give us Kenobi,
which is great.
that they're seeing now that we're I think somewhat better than how it was back then with the prequel. So yeah.
It's one of those things too where I feel like a lot of stuff is based on time. Give enough time where people can, heal from whatever
Mhm.
pain they might have had from what the sequels did to them,
Mhm.
or whatever storylines they didn't like from the sequels, and then be able to get back into that and acknowledge the people who are fans of the sequels as a hardcore sequel fan, sequel defender. All three of the sequels are some of my favorite Star Wars. I feel
Mhm.
like it's just kind of frustrating to see that I was also there when I was a prequel fan. And I was like, yo, prequels are awesome. And everyone's like, you're dumb. And now I'm like, yo, sequels are awesome. And they're like, you're dumb. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wait a minute, aren't you a prequel fan?
I trust me, when I see people, a lot of these people trashing the sequels. I'm like, I bet you were saying the same thing about the prequels, and now you just want to jump on the bandwagon. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it's
don't
it's
do that.
frustrating, but shout out to Daisy Ridley. I'm glad. I'm
Oh
really
my
glad,
God,
if I'm being
yes.
honest, on a, outside Star Wars level, just on a pure actress level, I'm glad she's getting attention in roles. I haven't seen her in a
Hmm.
minute, so hearing about this
I
movie and hearing that it's
know.
actually good is pretty refreshing to me because I want to see her succeed in everything she does.
Yes, she's amazing. I mean, even in the she, like you said, she hasn't been in many projects and stuff, but what I've seen her in, I absolutely love her. She's awesome as an actress. So, and if we could get her back into Star Wars, and she's willing, even after, um, I'm pretty sure all the backlash that she saw with the sequels and stuff, I'm appreciative of that. I really, really commend her for that.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's get to the green silo.
If you'd only had this little green Psylocke.
So our green silo for today is all about Bad Batch season 2. I want to talk about obviously the episode we just saw, which is episode 5 called Entombed. Let's start right there. What'd you think about this most recent episode?
I loved it. I liked it because it was such a like an Indiana Jones type of feel,
Yeah.
and it was just a fun episode. Aside from being also an episode where we see a little bit more character development for like Omega, we see their relationship with the rest of the Bad Batch, and I loved it. And the thing is, I'm a big Force lore like person. I love anything that has to do with the Force, and I also love getting to know things about any ancient civilizations that we've had in Star Wars. And so when they started with the, oh, this is very old and this is something from the, I'm like, oh, yes, that is so freaking cool. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna do anything with that afterwards, but just knowing that there's something there from that's so ancient, that was really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting how so far season 2 has been little tidbits here and there about certain characters, but it's still all centering around Omega. And this
Hmm.
episode was very much like, hey, let's just take Omega on an adventure kind of episode
Hmm.
where went back and rewatched it. And it's interesting how the Bad Batch doesn't have a lot of lines in this episode. Like it's mainly just reactive lines where it's like,
Hmm.
let's go over here, or what are you doing, or like very like quick lines here and there.
Hmm.
It's mainly just about Fee and Omega and their
Yeah,
storytelling, their adventures, and the way she's just a kid and trying to grow up and be a kid in this world and trying to have fun at the
absolutely.
same time. So I really do
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Yeah.
No, I did. And my I was talking with my friend. My friend was like, it's also important for Omega to go through this because eventually she's not gonna have the Bad Batch around anymore. And it's good for her to see there's other things out there that she can be doing and learning and stuff. And to have Fee as also like kind of a role model entering her in her life, that's also a good thing. And I like that they're showing this in the show.
It's interesting because I don't know if we saw a little bit of backlash against Omega in season 1 where people were like, "Oh, I'm tired of this little girl." But it's
Hmm.
interesting how she's become so endearing so quickly, especially this season with just a few
Yes.
episodes she's been in. But she's so endearing as just a kid who just wants adventure, but at the same
Mhm.
time wants to pull her weight and is not
Yeah.
being like a brat, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely. And it's just funny because it's like a cycle with, the fandom because it was the same thing with Ahsoka. I heard
yeah.
like when she was first introduced in the Clone Wars, everybody, like a lot of people did not like her character. And then she became one of the most loved characters in Star Wars, afterwards. So I like, it sucks that Omega the same treatment in the first season, but like you said, now we're getting her more um obviously the character development is there, and now people are starting to warm up to her more.
One thing I want to say about the Bad Batch 2 so far this season is the idea of quality Star Wars animation because the only tweet that I tweeted out last night was Kevin Kiner because I really do feel like right, like I was like, am
Oh
I
my
tripping
god,
or is this score like going so hard, like too hard?
it was just because it even though the music, the scenes were already like stressful because you were like, oh my god, what are they doing, are they gonna, what kind of traps, and the adventures that they're going, but then the music just makes you even more like
Yeah.
oh my god, like you're just in it, right, with the music. He did such an amazing job with the score for sure.
Yeah, I feel like the quality in the Bad Batch is still really high quality, animation
Hmm.
wise, score wise, voice acting wise. Like it's all really high quality. So I
Yeah.
wanted to just give a shout out. So far, we've only seen a little bit of season 2, so I don't want to make a
Hmm.
judgment call on how I feel about the season yet. But I
Hmm.
do want to
Hmm.
say that the quality is still there, the voice acting's there, and the score is there. So
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
Bad Batch quite a bit. Let's get to Full Sabacc.
Full Sabacc.
So Artful Sabacc is all about Star Wars TV. Obviously, we saw the trailer for the new season of The Mandalorian, which is coming out pretty soon. I want to get into this little mini Twitter debate because you're in Star Wars Twitter, so you see all the mini debates that
Ugh,
happen. It's like a
yes.
daily thing. Like you don't, I can't even keep up. But
Yes.
the one that I saw last week, which is like, I guess I'm late, but whatever, is The
Order
Mandalorian and
66.
Andor, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for The
Oh,
Mandalorian because The Mandalorian's better than Andor. And
oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
this little debate between the two. How do you feel about this rivalry?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's silly because all the shows have their own theme and their own thing going on. And it's, and I love it that they're giving us different things to cater to different people. You don't have to like every single thing that they put out, but I, Andor and Mandalorian are very different, obviously, two very different things. And, I think it's silly that they want to compare like how one looks and how the other looks. Especially they were talking about the volume thing. Oh, because Andor was more, on set, on location, and then Mandalorian, you could tell that they're using the volume and stuff. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's all still enjoyable. It's still a story. I mean, you already, yes, maybe some of the scenes on the Mandalorian, you could tell that they're, CGI or whatever. But that, not to me personally, that doesn't take me out of the experience. Or I won't let it if the story that's being told is like very entertaining. So it's a silly debate, obviously. So
Yeah, I feel like they're such different shows. Like it's such a different show. The way they're done, the story they're telling, the
hmm
type of Star Wars that they're communicating with each
hmm
show that they're doing. I feel like Andor taps into one side of Star Wars so specifically and so well done to the point that I feel like that's why I got the recognition from like the Golden Globes and the Emmys. Whereas the Mandalorian, which has also gotten recognition from Golden Globes and Emmys, but it taps into the more general side of Star Wars, which taps into
hmm
all four quadrants of like heartwarming family story, funny, silly comedy, but also intense action. Like it has all the
hmm
four quadrants of what makes a Star Wars story, where I feel like
hmm
Andor tapped into one
yes,
specific area of Star Wars very, very well, which is more of the political angle of it. So
exactly.
it's just to me, it's just ridiculous to compare the
Yeah,
two.
you can. It's two, like you said, it's two different stories. So how do you compare that? And it's up to your interpretation and what you like. If you're having fun with the political stuff that was in Andor, that's amazing. I loved it because it gives us such an intimate look into what was the Empire from the inside, which we haven't really gotten, with any other show. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and obviously I love both of these shows, and I think they both
hmm
bring different things to the Star Wars franchise and to Star Wars media in general and to
Yes.
conversations in general. So
Yes.
I love both these shows. I think they're both up there when it comes to Star Wars shows. And yet I'm going to make you compare them. Yeah, I'm going to make you pick between the two. Which one do you prefer?
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with Andor,
Mm,
just because of what we're saying that is so different from all the other shows.
mm,
Because with the Mandalorian, it's still more of the Star Warsy stuff out in space and the X-wings and the fun stuff with the aliens and everything. But then Andor gives us such a different type of story, and it's something like you said, other than Rogue One, I guess, with the movie. That's kind of what we get with the same feeling as Andor. But Andor gave us such an, like I said, an intimate look into what it was to be working from within the Empire and how they acted and the atrocities and stuff. And also I can relate because I took it also as like having been the daughter of immigrant parents, it kind of resonated with me with Andor's story. Him also being basically an immigrant, having to go somewhere else to hide his identity, to hide who he is, uh, because that's just how it is when you're in another planet or in another city in another country. And it was very personal to me in that way.
yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's difficult to compare, obviously, but if I did have to, because there are two live action shows and I feel like it's possible to compare them, I would definitely lean towards Andor because I do feel like the themes of Andor hit a little bit harder for me. And I feel like the episodes, the length just felt a little bit better than The Mandalorian did. And I feel
Hmm.
like The Mandalorian does a lot of good things right, but I feel like what Andor was doing, the one thing they were doing, they just nailed so perfectly that it was just so hard to top that in any way. But yeah, shout out to Diego Luna, shout out to the entire Andor cast. I
Hmm.
love The Mandalorian and I can't wait for
Oh God,
what
I'm
they're
waiting
bringing.
for it. Absolutely. I mean, it brought me such great emotional moments with that ending of season 2 with Luke and everything. So it was I loved it. But like you said, Andor just with Luthen and all the
Mm.
amazing speeches and the dialogue in that show, it was just it was great.
Yeah, I love both these shows. And obviously what's great about these shows, and obviously I always point this out because I've been pointing this out since he was cast, Diego Luna, uh, is the fact that we have Pedro and Diego Luna, two Latinos leading the show, which I was like, yo, this is
Absolutely.
wild. This is amazing. I love that Star Wars has done that ever since he was cast in Rogue One. And I wanted to go back on your comment on Rogue One, actually, because I feel like Andor is even so different to that, I would say, because K2, if you go back and rewatch that movie, K2 is
Mhm.
really just like breaking the ice every time. And he's like
Yes,
really
yes,
like,
yes.
I'm here to help you guys out for those people who really need comedy in Star Wars.
Yes,
I'm here to
absolutely.
give you
You're
one-liners.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Kate,
And he
Kate,
wasn't in
he
season
was
one.
no, he was. I
Yeah.
mean, we saw his kind there,
Yeah.
because many of us got excited, like, oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Obviously not. We were just too excited for him to want, for it to be him. But yeah, you're right. Andor was just straight
It
up,
was just so different. Yeah.
very, very thriller, very,
Yeah.
serious tone, and again, that's one of the reasons that I like it because it's so different. The Mandalorian at least gave us some like moments,
Oh yeah.
like to to
Plenty.
to 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 kind of, okay, we could sit back, relax a little bit before we get into anything intense. So yeah.
Yeah, there's the moment I told RB3 because we reviewed Andor. The most Star Wars scene in all of Andor was the scene where the two uh alien species guys were
Yes,
just
yes.
like, let's go to the other planet. Where do you need to go? Snoop the Empire. Like that was the most Star Warsy thing in
Star Wars
all.
thing. That was like that was the only campy thing in that
Yeah,
show. Like that was
yeah.
it.
And I was like, I'm watching Star Wars? What? What is this? Is this Star Wars? I thought it was Andor. No, I'm just playing, but I really did feel
No,
like
no, no, it's
that
true.
was that one scene where I was like, okay. Whereas you see that every episode in The Mandalorian. Every episode you see a
Yes,
goofy alien saying
yes.
one-liners. Whereas Andor
Everybody
had
was
it
comparing
once.
to like Blade Runner type of vibes, especially in
Mhm,
that first episode at the beginning when Andor was
mhm.
like in that sketchy bar asking for his sister and stuff. So definitely a totally different vibe. Yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to both shows. I think they're both incredible. But kind of speaking on
absolutely.
that and on live action shows, I kind of want to hear your live action Star Wars show rankings because I feel
Oh,
like
so it's live star for live action shows?
yeah, because I feel like it's
Okay.
so hard where anytime people say, "What's your favorite Star Wars show?" Like you can do your favorite Star Wars shows.
Hmm.
I'll try to do my best to keep up with you. But for me, it's just hard to compare
Yeah.
4 seasons of Rebels and like what 7.5 seasons
Of like
of
the
Clone
Clone
Wars,
Wars. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
be like, "What's better, this or Andor?" And I'm like, "Bro, that's like 100 and something episodes, man.
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna pick that because it's more."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but what do you think about live action? How would you
Okay,
go
so
one
live
through
action.
four? I think it's four, right?
I
Obi-Wan and
think so.
Boba
Is
Fett.
at Obi-Wan and okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead. So my favorite number one was Obi-Wan, then Andor, Mandalorian, and then Book of Boba Fett.
Got you.
That's my thing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Obi-Wan getting some love.
Yes, 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 absolutely. I mean, I think Obi-Wan for me is number one. Well, number one because it's very nostalgic for me.
Mm,
It actually, gave us a glimpse of something that I guess a lot of us were asking for, which was what was Obi-Wan's story? What
mm,
was that happened to him? And I love how they took Obi-Wan from being, his character growth throughout the 6 episodes was amazing. Seeing him being so downtrodden, so down on his luck and depressed and PTSD, and seeing him progress into the Obi-Wan that we actually had that we get towards the original trilogy. I love that progression, and it's some and I always said it. I couldn't kind of identify myself or like relate to Obi-Wan before, because he was always just like the everything is fine, everything is good, we're gonna be fine. Like he wasn't very big on showing his emotions or being very expressive with them. And then seeing him the way he was in the show, I was like, dude, that's me. I have my days that I'm like, oh my God, nobody talked to me. I'm like, I'm crying and eating ice cream, and then I'm like, I can relate to that. And then seeing him get better is like, okay, I that's the type of thing that I love to see, that I can relate to that in each and every way that he changed his attitude towards the end.
Yeah, I'm with you. I loved Obi-Wan. I really do feel like it's a great show, and it's up there with what Star Wars has done. It's so hard to mix and match and compare and all that, but if I did have to, I would say number 1, Andor, number 2, Mandalorian, number 3, Obi-Wan, and then number 4, Book of Boba Fett. When it comes to overall Star Wars, it's just like a whole Pandora's box, because it's hard for me not to put Rebels number 1. Rebels to me is like, it's still the best Star Wars show.
That was because I thought we were doing all of them. I was like, Rebels is my number 1 show.
What would your whole list be?
It would be Rebels, Obi-Wan, Andor, Mando, then Bad Batch, then the Clone Wars, then Tales of the Jedi, Book of Boba Fett, Visions, and Resistance.
Wow. Damn, it's so different than mine. It's so different. Mine would be, if I would do it off the top, because I don't have these ready, I'd probably go Rebels, Andor, then Visions, then Clone Wars, then Bad Batch, then what am I missing? Tales of the Jedi?
Tales of the Jedi, Resistance, and Mandalorian.
No, I said Mandalorian as my 4. And then Tales of the Jedi. And then after that, I would go Book of Boba Fett. And then at the very end, Resistance. Resistance.
Okay.
But,
so we have the same first and last.
yeah. Rebels and Andor.
Rebels,
Yeah.
Rebels is just...
It's so good.
I know everybody thinks that I'm crazy when I say that, especially like, but what about Clone Wars? I'm like, Clone Wars was amazing, of course.
Clone Wars is up there.
But it had 7 seasons. Rebels had 4, and it had... First of all, we got all these new characters. We get so much new stories. The characters developments are amazing. From each of the the Ghost crew, all of them, like their character growth was amazing, and we get so much more Force lore stuff. Like that was my thing. It was amazing.
Yeah, and obviously I love Clone Wars. It's still one of my favorites. I put 3 or 4. It's hard to. I love Vision so much because it's very specific to my anime love. But still, Clone Wars is probably 3 or 4. I could switch those 2 around. But speaking of Rebels, our Force flashback for today, ironically enough, is who is your favorite Rebels character?
My favorite Rebels character is Mr. Kanan Jarrus. He's like my favorite Jedi ever. Yes.
No way.
Yes, that's my favorite Jedi.
Would you want to see him in live action?
Oh my gosh.
Like in a flashback or something?
I would love that. I really, really would love to see him in live. Yeah, obviously in a flashback, because
he's not here anymore. Yeah.
But no, I would love to see that. Just, even though it's probably just like for nostalgia bait, for how they say fan servicey, but I don't care. As long as I get to see him just for a little bit, that would make me so happy.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've heard the Kanan fandom, and I've heard like who would play Kanan live action. I have no clue. Do you have a casting choice? No?
For Kanan? Oh my gosh, no.
That's tough,
I wouldn't
right?
even know, because
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
I don't know if he could do it.
No,
he might though. I mean, then again,
because he will. With a little makeup and stuff, I'm pretty sure they could, like, if it's like especially towards the end, before Kanan died and stuff, he could maybe do it.
You know who said someone tweeted this at me like years ago when Rebels was airing, was homie from In the Heights.
Oh,
as Kanan.
Okay, yeah.
Someone said that to me, and I was like, okay, I can see that.
Anthony Ramos.
Him,
Yes,
him.
yes, Anthony Ramos.
And then someone said me as Kanan. I was like, hey, I'll take it. Because
Listen,
I'm
I'm
older than
down. Let's
Kanan.
get
I aged
let's
out
get
of it.
Andres up in here. Let's go.
Uh,
Get him in Star Wars.
but he'd be I would love to see him in flashbacks. And obviously, spoilers, we're gonna see these Rebels characters, obviously not Kanan,
Hmm.
but we're gonna see Hera, Sabine, and Ezra in live action, which is so powerful and moving to me. Like I freaked out when I
Yes.
was in Star Wars Celebration and they showed the back of Hera's head, just the back of Hera's head. I was just like, bro, I literally got out of my chair and was screaming. RB3,
I
you were in the
can
theater with
imagine.
me. Remember when we went to see Rogue One and they
Oh,
said
yeah.
General Syndulla and I was kicking you and I was like, oh my God, Hera, that's my girl.
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's my favorite Star Wars character is Hera. I
Hera,
cannot wait to
Hera's
see her.
amazing.
I can't wait to
They're
see
my
her.
favorite couple. They're like the best couple in Star Wars.
The
The
best
best.
couple.
Most
Incredible.
healthiest relationship in all of
Yeah,
Star Wars. Even
they
High Republic stuff. Everything.
they're
They're
incredible.
the
They
best.
argue, they communicate, they dialogue, they compromise. I was like, yo, this is couples
I was
goals,
like,
man.
this is so weird. Like, because
Yeah,
this is not, is this really Star Wars? Because none of these relationships in Star Wars was ever like that, has ever been like
yeah.
that.
They're
It was
actual
so
parents.
good. Yeah, they actually were not toxic.
Yeah,
Like,
and
oh,
they have what, 4 kids. They're taking care of their
having to deal with
kids.
that for
They're
kids.
trying to be like, hey, good mom, good cop, bad cop. Like it's really fascinating to see
Yeah,
a real family dynamic in Star Wars. I think that's the best it's ever done, if I'm being
yeah,
real. Outside of anything that I've seen. So I love Hera. She's my favorite. I've said it a million times, as much as how much I love her, and I can't wait to see her live action. The
yes,
rumor is that she's going to be played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That's a
yes,
big
yes,
prominent rumor that's been out
yeah.
there for a little bit.
That's Ewan's. Is that Ewan's wife?
I think it is. I think it's his current
Right?
either fiance or wife or
Yeah,
girlfriend,
yeah, yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably something he had an influence there too. He was like,
He's like,
"You will cast her as Hera." Uh, he did his
she is
ObiWan.
perfect for the role.
Yeah,
Yes.
these are the casting you're looking for. Um, I think he actually did pull some strings there because he was executive producer for ObiWan. So
Yeah,
I feel
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that might have worked
I
out for
think
sure.
he's more involved with Star Wars stuff right now. So
Yeah, which is
especially
cool.
seeing, yeah, I love it because now he's, I guess, with all the love that he's being shown now, finally, and he
Yeah.
sees that the fandom is like so welcoming now. He's like, all right, well, I could get used to this.
He's cool. I'll always respect Ewan. I love Ewan because Obi-Wan's like another like favorite character of mine.
Hmm.
But I've always loved him because he always defended the prequels too. Like even back in like 2006, when it was
Yeah.
not fun to defend the prequels, he was still like, "Hey, I thought they were great."
Yeah, he always
So
said that. He was like,
yeah,
even now, he's like, I always thought back then they were great. I mean,
yeah,
of course, you're in Star Wars. Like,
yeah,
how you complain about
yeah.
Star Wars?
He's great. I love
Yeah,
his
he's awesome.
attitude, his presence. The video he did for Moses Ingram uh
Oh my God, that was
was great.
so
It was
cool. That was
necessary.
really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely was. Hmm.
And it's interesting how like a year and a half ago that would have never happened. But how this show really brought that out of Ewan, it brought it out of the Star Wars fandom, and it really made a statement as far as like what they were trying to
Yeah,
communicate.
and it was needed because he is a big name. He's
Yeah,
a staple name in Star Wars. So seeing
yeah,
him, specifically him, come out and talk in defense of Moses and this specific topic, it was a very big deal for sure.
yeah. I'm excited to see Hera interact with live action Sabine and live action Ezra. I think it's going to be
It's
incredible. I
gonna be
cannot
so
wait.
cool. And then my baby Chopper, my little murder bot.
Yeah, live action Chopper is going to be something.
I'm gonna. I wonder how he's gonna act. It's gonna be something to watch for sure.
Yeah, because he's been in a lot of stuff before, and I feel like we've obviously in animation, but I
Hmm.
think he was in like the corner in Rogue One,
No,
right?
yes, he was. He was. You see him pass by. You see him
Yeah.
roll by. Yeah, 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 yeah.
What's funny though is it is not doing like his chopper like crazy
The
hands and
arms and
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's not fully chopper. He's like a subdued chopper.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Chopper's crazy, man. Homie is insane.
He's he's
Um,
he's yeah.
but he's there for Hera, so that's all that matters.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Let's get to Squad Up with Squad Leader Ace, our weekly or episodically, whatever you want to say, game show that we have here on Sabacc the Block. This is where I present to you a scenario, a common Star Wars scenario, and you give me who you would take to have on your squad. That's why it's called Squad Up. That's why I'm Squad Leader Ace. But this is where you pick specific people from anywhere in Star Wars canon for a specific scenario. So I'm going to give you a prompt, and then you tell me what you would pick. So let's get to the prompt first.
Let's go.
Very simple. You are on a supply run for a rebel mission when suddenly you are attacked by a horde of violent creatures. You need a crew to get you out of there. What you need first is a pilot who can think on their feet and is not afraid to get their hands dirty, a sharpshooter, someone who is covering you with blasters as you run for your life, a strategist who is coming up with a plan of escape and a fight back against the creatures, and finally a driver and their vehicle to get you to your pilot right away. So you need the driver and what kind of speeder or variation of a speeder they're going to be driving. So I want to start right off the bat. You're running away from these violent creatures. Who is your pilot on the ready, on call to take off?
Okay, so I had to think about this one, but the key thing here was that you said that wasn't, afraid to get their hands dirty, and I'm gonna go with Lando. Because Lando will do whatever it takes,
What is he flying?
He's definitely flying the Falcon because he took it from Han for sure. I would have said Hera because Hera is, I think, one of the most amazing pilots out there, but she's very more reserved. She's not really, she wouldn't be the type to just be like, all right, F it, let's do this. Or I would have said Anakin, but Anakin probably would crush us and he's a little bit too unstable. So definitely Lando. He's quick, he's very smart, he's very, on nose, and he will do what needs to be done. So for sure. Lando.
That's a great one. I would love to say Hera. I'll break it a little different. I'll be a little bit different, but kind of going off Lando, I'll say Han. Han is another guy who's good at like rushing you and getting you to do what you need to do, but at the same time, he's there for you and he's got your back. So any kind of smuggling op we got, I feel like Han Solo will have your back. So let's get to the second one, which is a sharpshooter, someone who's protecting you from blasters. I imagine them like they're on a mountainside, they're on a building top, whatever it is, they got your back, and you know that at least you have cover, and you know they're going to shoot the creatures and not you. Who is your sharpshooter?
Crosshair, 110%. I mean, that's what he was, cloned for, to do exactly that. And what he did in episode 3 of the Bad Batch, absolutely.
Yeah, who's doing trick shots?
Always.
He's the Steph Curry of sharpshooting.
Exactly.
He's just hitting crazy
He's
shots.
a globetrotter too. He's just like the trick shots and stuff.
Yeah, he's absolutely insane. Yeah, I feel like that's a great choice. And obviously he'll do his job. He'll do his mission. He won't ask questions. I'll go with another sharpshooter, the one that we were hyped up to believe is one of the best in all of the galaxy. And that is my girl, Fennec Shand. Fennec is a beast with a rifle and a blaster rifle. And she can take down anyone with that. So I feel like Fennec would have my back. And again, she's down for anything, literally.
She's like, listen, we're good now. We're together. Let's do it.
That was my favorite part of Book of Boba Fett, where she was just like, yeah, sure. Major Domo, let's go. And I was like, really? Okay. Fennec is just down, bro.
She's down. Once you're cool with her, she's cool with you for forever unless you mess up her, but she got your back for sure.
And then finally, we have 2 more. A strategist. Who is your strategist that is coming up with a plan in the background?
Okay. I'm going to say General Akbar.
Ooh.
Because he's, obviously crazy admiral and with the rebellion and stuff. I would have said Thrawn, but Thrawn is more, because Thrawn is super smart. But that dude, it's very, if it's not beneficial to him, then, he's not really going to be into it. So I don't want to take my chances. So definitely General Akbar.
That's a good one.
I mean, Admiral Akbar, not General, Admiral.
Yeah, I feel like that's a solid one. It's tough to come up with one because I kind of want to cheat and say a droid. A droid would just compute and just be like, I can figure out what to do here. But I'm gonna go with a homie of mine who's been getting some love recently in the Bad Batch, and that's my homie Tech. I feel like
Tech.
Tech is so smart. He can come
Yes,
up
he
with
is.
a crazy plan and a plan of escape to get you out of a situation. And we just saw that he's as smart as like a droid is essentially. So if Tech has my back, or as Omega would say, tick, tick,
Tick, tick.
tick, um, I feel like I can do anything with Tech
No,
by
the
my
way
side.
he did the especially all the he in the fourth episode, the way he strategized and like did everything with the racing. Oh yeah, definitely. Like
It's such a
that
bummer,
was
right? Because I feel like I saw season one and I said
yeah.
Crosshair is my favorite, and immediately he turned evil, and I was like, damn it, now I need a new favorite. And I always loved Donatello. Uh,
Donatello, yeah.
and obviously this is loosely based off the Ninja Turtles, kind of.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Donatello was always my favorite. I always liked the smart dude. Like the smart dude is always, I thought he was
hmm
always cool. But it's
Yeah.
a bummer because I feel like they kind of pushed him to the side in season one. And now in season two, I'm like, okay, he's has a little bit
He's
more of a
getting more.
personality.
Yes, yes. And that's why I love favorite thing about episode 3 was like we finally get some time with Tech and really see what he's about, you know?
Because if you watch anime, and obviously I'm not sure if you do, but
I do it
anime
somewhat.
loves smart characters. They like
hmm
give him character development. They give him tragic backstories. They get like they really like hype up their smart characters, and I
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
love them. There's a ton in My Hero Academia, but there's also a ton in any anime you can name.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But they get a lot of love, and I felt like they weren't giving the same love to Tech,
The
and I
same
was
to
like, "Where's
Tech,
that love,
yeah.
bro? He's the smart
No, no,
guy."
he is. And he's getting a little bit more relationship development with Omega too. We see that in the first 2 episodes
Yeah,
where he's kind of being a little bit more of a parent to her. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm loving this love for Tech this season.
And then finally, a driver and a vehicle. So, who is your driver and what is their vehicle
Okay,
on the
so
ground?
my driver is IG-11 because after that, what
Ooh,
he did in the Mandalorian with Baby Grogu, he can drive and he has the ability to be shooting at the same time. So
wow, that's
I'm
a
down.
really good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And is he driving
And
just a regular speeder?
no, 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 he's driving race speeder. Cause race
Oh,
speeder, I was
that's
because
a
I went online to like see what
yeah,
speeders are cool. And they said that her speeder is very fast and it has the ability to lift heavy cargo at the same time. So I could have all the stuff that we were supposed to be getting to the ship, and it's gonna be fast. Well, and then with IG-11, he's on point with everything going on all at once. So yeah.
yeah. I love this choice. This is amazing. Race speeder is so underrated, right? The design is so
Yeah, it
cool,
is.
and we never saw it again.
No, I liked, and then it's cool because I mean, I know that it was her design because she built it out of scraps and stuff,
Yeah,
but it's something that we get if we get anything post the sequels, we could get her doing
yeah.
more builds like that and get more speeders like that.
That'd be so cool. It's one of those things
Yeah.
too where I always remember Race Speeder because I used to do Star Wars trivia. And
hmm
every time I would memorize every damn speeder name, like every single one. And I was like, I'm a beast. I can do all this. And then I would get to Race Speeder and I was like, but what is it really called though? And I would look it up and I was like, it's just called Race
It's
Speeder.
race speeder. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I
So
saw on the
I
thing.
love
Yeah.
that. So I'm gonna cheat. Not cheat, but I'm gonna be petty. And the first thing that came to mind, and I'm just gonna go with it, is
Uh-huh.
Sebulba and his pod racer.
I was thinking about that too. I was like,
Like no
should
one
I
gonna
go
catch me, bro.
prequels?
Like
Yeah.
homie's got a hot rod, bro. Homie's Dominic Toretto out here.
Yes, he is.
He's too fast. He's too crazy. He's a gangster. Like he's got my back. If Sebulba has his giant ass, like two turbo engine speeder, like
Yeah, nobody's
it's
catching him.
over.
Especially the way he drives, and he's so dirty driving that he
Yeah.
would just be like,
Yeah, imagine
everybody out my way.
stormtroopers chasing him and stuff, or like someone chasing him, or creatures chasing
Yeah,
him. He'd be dropping
absolutely not.
bombs and stuff behind
Exactly. Oh,
Mario
he
Kart
definitely
style.
would. Yes, yes. That's a
So
great choice. Definitely. Yes.
that's the first thing. I don't know how we're gonna fit, but we'll find a way. He's small,
Wait.
so
Yes.
but I feel like that would work. So all right, so to go down your list again, you're escaping these creatures. Who is your pilot?
Who is what?
Your pilot. So
Okay,
we're
so
going down
Lando
again.
is my pilot, and he's flying the Millennium Falcon. Um, Crosshair is gonna be having my back with, making sure that everybody around me is getting shot. I'm gonna have Admiral Akbar as my strategist to be able to chart the best course and take us out of here. And I'm gonna have IG-11 driving me on race speeder to get me to the ship.
And then my pilot was Han Solo. Obviously, he's got the Falcon. My sharpshooter is Fennec Shand. My driver, I already said, is Sebulba, and his pod racer. And my strategist is my homie Tech, the number one Bad Batch guy there is on the team.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. You know who we did honorable mention as a strategist, and I don't know why I didn't think of him, Nemec from Andor, because the way he figured that out for Andor to get out of the event or whatever, when they're trying to escape, you know, after the heist or whatever.
Dude, huh?
Yeah.
So he's going to be giving you speeches in the middle of it.
Do we take points away because he like actually died, or?
I mean,
oh god,
he still got you out.
He got you out. He got Andor out, so that's what counts.
He wrote your amazing manifesto.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can read it. Remember him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I feel like there's a lot of I feel like Hera's a really good strategist too. I think she's underrated.
Yeah, she is. She's
I
quick
don't
on
know.
her feet.
Yeah.
On you know, when it comes to like getting out of situation, she sees a situation happening and she like can think something real quick. So she's really good with that too.
I feel like there's a couple. I feel like Poe is pretty good at that too. We
Mhm.
saw that a few times in the sequels.
Yeah.
But either way, I feel like there's a lot of good choices. That's what's so fun
Mhm.
about Star Wars. But obviously, this was a blast, Karina. Thank you so much for
Oh my
coming
God,
on.
Andres, absolutely.
I hope you had fun. This is the whole point of the show. I hope everyone watching had fun watching along. But where can everyone find you?
Okay, so I'm on TikTok and Twitter as a Star Wars Tia, and on Instagram I am Kari Skywalker. All nerdy content and fun and simping stuff, you know.
Make sure you guys go follow her over on social media, on her TikTok and on her Twitter as well. You can follow me at Squad Leader Ace, our channel at First Cut, our TikTok at First Cut TMO, and RB3 at Director RB3 as well. But either way, guys, for Sabacc the Block and for the Sabacc the Block crew, we're going to be peacing out. So deuces.